Joined here in the studio by Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo. Thank you, sir, for joining us this Saturday evening. Sir, let's begin with this. No, state of lawless violence. The president had said, and he was very categorical about it. No, this is not martial law. We're not talking about
suspension of the
habeas corpus, etc. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, you know, under the Constitution, the commander-in-chief, who is the president, has the authority to call out the armed forces to prevent or suppress violence. Now, right now, the entire country is under siege by the drug menace. 98 barangays have been infiltrated. There have been extrajudicial killings related to drugs. These are members of the syndicate killing each other, trying to hide their own involvement, of course. And then we have criminality still going on. And then we have the so-called Abu Sayyaf problem. And then we have terrorism. What happened in Davao is obviously an act of terrorism because the intention is to create fear as well as to sow apprehension, discontent among the population. And there is a need for the president to make a declaration of state of lawless violence so that there would be heightened police visibility, there would be checkpoints, and maybe there would be curfew in some areas. That's the main reason why he declared state of lawless violence, or state of, we call it earlier, lawlessness. It's the same.
So in a way, Secretary Panelo, parang naging, this was like just the final straw for him, or it gave him that opportunity. The blast last night in Davao City gave the president that opportunity to declare this state of lawless violence. Because like you were saying, drugs, criminality, terrorism, Abu Sayyaf. So parang nagkapatong-patong lang ka?
Yes.
Ganon? So pinag-isipan na ito for a while.
Definitely. It's been in the
on the
thoughts
drawing
of
board.
the president.
Okay. There was a little bit of a miscommunication, and I just wanted to, again, clarify that about state of lawless violence and what the scope was. When I spoke to you at noontime, you were saying you had clarified already that, no, this is not just limited to Mindanao. This covers the entire country,
yes,
nationwide. That miscommunication was simply what?
Miscommunication.
Miscommunication lang. Okay.
Maybe it could be a bad hearing from one, from one source to another until it's reached the ears of another.
Yeah. So definitely there was the idea was not just to limit this to Mindanao.
Certainly.
Because if we're talking about the drug
yes,
war,
definitely,
drugs,
because
we're talking about
yes, it cannot be localized because the drug menace covers the entire country. So that's criminality. So is terrorism. There have been threatening messages coming from whoever that they will be bombing this place, malls. And so there is real threat that makes the president decide to declare state of lawless violence.
Okay. This also...
But certainly, let me assure the Filipino nation that it will not lead to martial law, nor will it lead to the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus.
Because some people like to think
they're apprehensive.
That is apprehensive. Yes. Apprehensive lang sila. Okay. When we talk about last night's blast, until this point, we're not sure yet exactly who is behind it. The police are still finishing up the post-blast investigation report and finishing up the investigation. So do we have an even clearer view as to who is behind this? Is it the Abu Sayyaf? Although earlier you heard a so-called spokesman of the Abu Sayyaf, not very clear either, no? Not categorically saying that it's them. He's saying it's possibly a group that sympathizes with them. So sino ito?
But right now it doesn't matter who. Regardless of who made the bombing, certainly the intention is to sow fear, to create terror among the population. And that is, I think, the very reason why it is included in the grounds for declaring a state of lawless violence.
Yeah. Earlier also, sir, we spoke to the Armed Forces spokesman, General Padilla. We spoke to, General De La Rosa, PNP chief, at a press conference. They were saying the same thing, no? Calling for calm and vigilance and calling for cooperation for the public. Halimbawa, kung may checkpoint, pwedeng cooperate with authorities. Just, don't resist or whatever, no?
Yes, because it's for their own safety.
Yeah, okay. At the same time, there's that if you see anything suspicious,
Anything
report it to
abnormal, out
matter,
of
anything
the ordinary.
out of the ordinary.
Like when you see somebody living behind a bag in a public place, that's something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, okay. But just a point of clarification, sir. General Albayalde, NCRPO chief, was saying that what they practice is in the plain view doctrine. No? So in other words, basta't nakikita lang, whatever the police can see, then that is what they can check. But if they ask halimbawa, no? Let's say
Yes.
someone goes to a checkpoint and then the police ask, can you open your some cabinets inside?
Yes.
I forget what it's called. Yung sa kotse, no?
Compartment.
Oo, compartment.
Yes.
So, kailangan buksan. Pwedeng buksan.
Of course.
Bakit hindi? Parang gano'n.
Bakit naman hindi kung wala kang tinatago? Tsaka halimbawa, if you receive some information that the passengers there are carrying something, o di siyempre, with more reason.
Okay.
Pipilitin talagang buksan mo yun.
Okay. What else should should civilians keep in mind now that we have this state of lawless violence?
Well, they should be unafraid. They can do their usual thing, but be alert. They should be more attentive to their surroundings. Because if you're observant, there are people who, perform some acts which somehow deviates from the ordinary. And just like what happened in Davao, I watched one of them saying that there were these two women acting suspiciously, and she or he thought that she or he were going to steal something, and then suddenly they disappeared, and then there was a bomb blast.
Okay. Maraming salamat po, Secretary Sal Panelo. Thank you, sir, for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having